Welcome to Thinking Deeply About Primary Education, the podcast that makes time and space to think about pedagogy, teaching and learning, professional development, anything of interest to time-poor but enthusiasm-rich primary teachers. This week, I'm joined by Stuart Welsh.
Hi there, Kieran. Thanks for having me again.
It's always good to have you, Stuart. This week, we're going to answer unseen questions from listeners. But before we do that, I'd like to remind everyone that tickets are on sale for TDAPE Manchester, which will be on the 29th of March 2025 at Old Trafford Community Academy. We've got, I think, roughly 30 really excellent sessions. Lots of those have been advertised so far, but all of it's on the Eventbrite page. 20 quid, raising money for Crohn's and Colitis UK. So please come and join us if you are available on that day. What advice do you have for schools trying to embed a consistent, research-informed approach to mathematics teaching?
I suppose the first piece of advice is, yes, you should be doing that. I think that we've got to be using the time and energy that we have in schools in the best way possible. And if what we're doing is not grounded in research, then we really have to question if it's the best use of our time. So, first of all, I would applaud the schools that have decided to go down that route. I think what's important in a world where perhaps teachers have sort of suffered from initiative fatigue is to explain the why, and think, well, we're asking you again to examine your practice, to make changes to your practice. This is why. And the beauty about research-informed approaches is that there's research there to tell you why, this actually works. And I think it really is useful for teachers to have some understanding of the research. They don't need to spend hours and hours digging through papers, but I think schools and school leaders should be saying to teachers, we're not just telling you some new things to do, we're going to get that buy-in by explaining that this is a really good thing to do. And of course, if you can say to teachers that this is going to reduce your workload, or is going to get better outcomes for your students, and actually it's going to make teaching more enjoyable, then those are really strong ways, I think, of getting teacher buy-in. Now, you talked about a consistent approach there, and I think that there probably are some pretty well-established ideas around what works well in classrooms, and I think consistency is key there, because we develop a shared language as teachers, but we also create a sort of an experience for students where they know what to expect, they know what's expected of them, and so they're not going from room to room or teacher to teacher, and it's a completely different experience, a different set of boundaries, different sort of procedures to go through, and that can only lead to efficiency, I think, across the school. But if it comes to sustaining that improvement, I think investing in PD is very, very important. One-offs will potentially motivate and share some good ideas, but really I think the PD needs to be focused on one particular area. Don't try and do everything at once. Think about what is it we're trying to build in, and if it's, for example, something like building a strong start to the lesson, whether that's with a starter activity or something, then that's what we all focus on. We do training together, we plan together, and then we have a shared language and a shared understanding of what it all looks like. I think that certainly putting time aside to allow teachers to purposely plan around the new initiative. For some it won't be a new initiative. You have some cheerleaders, some people that are going to be able to kind of catch the ball and run with it, sort of thing, and you can utilise them as your champions, but we really need to be thinking about putting time aside. It's probably not going to be sustained if we do one 30-minute twilight and then just tell teachers you don't get any extra time to start to get your head around this. You don't get any time to look and see what other people are doing. So it's a case of deciding which of the strategies and approaches you want to go for, and then being brave enough as a leader in a school to say, we are going to earmark time for this, even if it means eating into time that we spent on something else. It's that opportunity cost. What is the most impactful way that we can be spending our time, even if it means teachers feeling like they're taking a step back to then take two forward. The consistency element, what I think we want to remember is that teachers are still individuals, and they need to be seen and treated as individual people. And although we're talking about common language. We're talking about a set of sort of guiding principles that teachers can follow. We're not necessarily saying you must do this every lesson in exactly this way. And we have discussed in the past sort of this idea of non-negotiables, a phrase that is a dangerous one to put around. There certainly are, I think, minimum expectations, but if we've developed a culture where that you're saying to teachers, I don't have to see this every lesson, but I do expect that over time these are the sort of actions and behaviours that all of us will be taking in this school, because these are the ones that are grounded in research, these are the ones that we know makes a difference. But I think it is important to remember that teachers are individuals, and that whilst we give them guiding principles and structures and frameworks, their professional judgment counts, and we need to let them know that they are trusted enough to make those decisions on their own. And sadly, that is sometimes not the case, where teachers feel that they're not able to deviate from the script, even though in their gut they probably feel that they should be. So we want to empower teachers in that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I take the TDAPE 45-hour week idea into the real world, people laugh at me, but I think if we cut all the stuff that didn't really make any difference in schools, and we did follow the evidence in terms of how we should be behaving, you probably got a 25-hour week. I probably teach for longer, don't we? But you know what I mean. So totally with you. And I think Shannon Doherty said, consistency is not seeing everything exactly the same in every classroom, but it's that consistency of experience for the pupils. And if you're utilising these strategies over like a period of time, then all the students and all your pupils are going to get that same high quality experience. So
I agree completely, and I think you're right there in terms of what Shannon's sort of how she's defining consistency. It's not seeing the same thing all the time, but it's a general sense that we're going in the same direction. And one thing I think that can help support that is allowing teachers to work together as well, and getting into each other's classrooms. So learning study, lesson study, working in triads. Again, it takes time to be ring fenced for that, but those are the high impact things that will ultimately save us time in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people are doing MPQs, and at the heart of the MPQs is the idea that things take time and that we should be prudent and we should be really, really considerate when making our action plans and stuff. So if that stuff's having an impact in school leadership, then hopefully the tide may turn. But obviously that's just in England, which is only one subset of our sort of listenership. So to be confirmed, I think. But I think really useful advice for everyone, no matter where they are, to really think about how they can get the most from every second in lessons. And I think that's definitely by following the evidence and being healthily skeptical, I think.